all started when some supporters of President Trump announced plans to have several speakers address a crowd at noon. Well, a group calling itself mostly anti-fascist showed up around 10 o'clock to make sure that people would know that not everyone in Berkeley supported these speakers.
Berkeley. Do we really have to do this again? Opposing rallies were held in Berkeley the other day, one by the pro-Trump, pro-free speech crowd, and another by the anti-Trump Antifa crowd. And as you can expect, it devolved into primitive caveman bullshit. All points were lost, all discourse was destroyed, and it was a complete mess for both sides. It seemed like very few people arrived to the event with the actual intention of having a peaceful rally. From the moment crowds started to gather, it was about standing in each other's faces and hurling insults, antagonizing one another, and creating hostility, just waiting for someone to throw the first punch, which eventually happened, and then the floodgates opened. Antifa arrived with their normal costumes and their normal poor attitude and their normal lack of understanding. And the Trump supporters arrived geared up, ready to fight. Often when you enter into a situation with certain expectations, those expectations are reflected in the result. And that is exactly what happened in Berkeley. Antifa, if you have to hide your face, if you have to wear a mask, it's for one of three reasons. You either don't feel strongly enough about your convictions to actually be open and honest, you intend on partaking in some nefarious activities that could smear your identity, and therefore you shouldn't be partaking in them in the first place. Or you just want to play dress up with your friends and feel like warriors, when all you really are is a bunch of ignorant fucking children that at no point have you ever presented a reasonable argument or a decent message. Your tactics are about violence and hostility and promoting fucking communist ideology and symbology. And then to the free speechers, you sunk to their level. You further cemented the ideologies and the motivations of these misguided youths and used their same horrible tactics against them. You should have risen above it. You should have ignored them, pretended like they weren't even there, and held your rally and spoke your truth. Instead, you gave in and showed that you are no better than they are. Everyone just wanted this. Everyone wanted this to explode from the second they showed up. Everyone wanted this to go off, and it did. And are you happy now? Did this please you? Did anyone get an actual point or message across? No. Zero productivity. It just leaves me feeling desperate and sad. What are we doing? What are we doing? If this is what it's turning into, every time, if this is what it's gonna be every time, nothing is ever gonna get done. The citizens are now against each other. People are calling this the battle for Berkeley, trying to make it sound like some sort of noble cause or effort. There's no victory here. It's just ignorance versus ignorance. As anyone who's been watching knows, I've been very outspoken against the left. But if people who claim to be for free speech are going to adopt the tactics of this fucking terrorist organization, then how I can't stand for them either. It's just really upsetting to watch this because you know, in any other location, these people could probably get along quite fine. But because there's a barrier between them and they're standing with their groups, feeling empowered, wearing their respective outfits, they're enemies. This cannot be the benchmark for political discourse and for rallying and protesting. The rest of the country cannot follow this example. Do not glorify or praise what happened, and do not elevate it above senseless aggression or stupidity. But most of all, do not let this become the norm. Do not let violence take place of communication.